Hello and welcome, Katy here. Thanks so much for stopping by. I'm excited to be back finally creating and sharing and inspiring my card ideas with you guys. And I want to thank you for continuing to subscribe and support my channel, even though I haven't really been able to put out any content for the last year and a half. I have been working on the Card Maker Success Summit. I've done 2 of those. I've got a third one that I just filmed and submitted for spring of 2025, so stay tuned for that. But today, I am excited to share some new product from Spellbinders. The first one that I'm going to do in today's video is Rocky the Dancin Yeti. He's a cute little thing, and he's part of the Dancin Monsters group. Now, for today's project, I'm actually going to create the little Rudolph scene where the Yeti's putting on, well, the abominable snowman is putting on the star on top of the Christmas tree. So I thought that'd be a fun thing to share. And there'll be some more projects as we get through the rest of the month and into December that I think you're going to like too. So let's pop down and get started. So I'm going to go through because I went and pre-die cut everything. I've got a Christmas tree, and I'm using the Simon Hurley Classic Christmas die set. And so I'm using the tree pieces and then the ornaments, and I'm also going to use the star that's in there for our tree topper. For our snowbanks, I'm using the Color Block Scenecscape from Spellbinders, and I went ahead and I die cut those. Now I just used a scrap piece because I don't need a ton to be able to create the snow mounds, the hills, but I went ahead and foiled. Now before I jump in and go further, I wanted to show this. So this cardstock that I'm using is the brushed white snow, not snowflake. It's the brushed white cardstock from Spellbinders. I love shimmery cardstock, and the problem with it when you foil is if you get any overfoiling. See, off camera, I tried this and I got some overfoiling, kind of like I did here, where you can see the little dash lines and a little speck. And I used my eraser, the sand eraser. Doesn't matter if you use a regular eraser. The problem is, and I'm hoping that the camera's picking up the scuffing that's happening here. So while those things work really well with regular cardstock, even black, or blue, dark colors, it doesn't work great with any type of shimmery cardstock. So my recommendation is take a couple small pieces and do some test foiling with them. What I found, and I'm using a Big Shot when I do my foiling, is I only need a couple of shims, and I'm using, let me show them to you. I recommend either 80-pound cardstock or like these mailers that I get, and they're kind of about the same thickness, maybe a little thicker, but not by much. But these mailers that you get in the mail are great for shims because they're not super thick, but they're not thin like printer paper. You could use printer paper also and just double it up. The other thing, because you might try this and no matter what you do, you take a shim away, you add a shim, whatever, you might still get extra foiling. So what I ended up doing here, because that's what was happening to me, is I just went through one time. I used these 2 shims, of course, with my spacer pad and, thin shim that come with the glimmer machine. And then just went through once. So rolled it through, pulled it out. And I didn't have any overfoiling. So sometimes you got to really do trial and error with the hot foiling, just because cardstock's different, foil's different. Sometimes it's not anything but the foil. Not all foil's great. So that's just something to keep in mind. So Okay, so I wanted to show that to you because you don't want to ruin your piece by scuffing it because it really doesn't look great, right? Okay, so snowbanks. I'm going to use some Memento Inks, Summer Sky, Bahama Blue, Nautical Blue, and Teal Zeal. Delicata ink. I'm going to use a snowflake background, and that's from Gina K. That's the rubber one. And then my foil plate came from the mini Christmas sentiment strips. And then to top it off, so I'm going to do some ink blending and stamping, but I'm going to add this Flurry of Snowflakes 3D embossing folder. So I'm excited about that. Now, I wanted to show this, the watercolor paper I'm using. I really love hot press watercolor paper when I'm ink blending. It's one of my favorites. Got lots of videos on the channel for that. But I hadn't tried the Altenew, so I thought I would try that today. Use whatever you have, but I always found that hot pressed, it's smooth, it works really well. You could use cold press. It's just going to have more texture to it. So here is, and like I said, I went ahead and cut our elements. So our trees in there, I've got our little foiled. Now, this tree came from some pigment powder backgrounds that I did. Let me grab one. So I had these huge 9x12 sheets where I was just tossing some pigment powders down in greens and yellows and blues. And so I use those to die cut from. And if I want to add additional color, ink blending and stuff, I can just add some more over the top of those. But then the foil pieces that you see here of the little ornaments from the Simon Hurley die set, those just come from Michael's. They're foiled cardstock. They come in a variety pack, and then they have the gold that's separate. I just use those. Our Yeti pieces I've got right here. And these black ones I don't want to lose because this is actually for his eyes. And those are the black, that's the black brushed cardstock from Spellbinders. I'm a fan of shimmer cardstock. I've got tons of it, and I've got tons of ideas for using it in upcoming videos to make really pretty, elegant cards. So I hope you'll stay tuned for that. Okay, so I've got these little antlers here, and I'm going to go through, because these are all the pieces that I'm going to use today. These are his hands and his feet, his arms, his legs. Now, the thing with the Dancin Yeti is, and all the Dancin monsters, is that their legs will swing. So you would just pop these up on foam and put a piece of foam, like a circle foam, back here, and his legs will swing. Really cool, but I'm going to keep him stationary, so he's going to get glued together. These are our little bits and pieces to create him. I hope that's not off camera with my remote there. Okay, now slide our little cutouts over here, and we're going to talk about our Yeti. Now, this magnet, you may be wondering, is new from Glassboard Studio. It's the 6-inch one. I opted to do the navy, but it's great. I mean, you need a big piece to hold down your cardstock. It'll do it. I mean, your paper will slide around a little bit, but if you need to hold it in place like a third hand, it's great. But you can put your dies on here, which is awesome too. So these are the pieces that I've used. His body, his legs, arms, feet, hands, excuse me, his little face with eyes and belly, and the antlers and the eyes come in the same die set. But I want to show you the other elements that come in here because I'm not actually going to use them today because I wanted to keep him simple. I really did want to keep him looking like the Yeti in the movie. So we get a little coffee mug, which is adorable. All these little elements are great because you can use them for other cards, other little pieces. We've got a little hat. We've got his scarf. We've got the headband. And then we've got some earmuff elements where you can make little earmuffs, which are great. Santa hat. That's another great idea. You can make a little Santa hat background. Probably going to do that. And let's see, we got some bow elements. We've got whipped cream for the top of our mug, which is cute. So he can be holding these things. I think this is his little tooth. This is the little flower. So we've got our flower die, but then you get that extra topper to stick on top element. Oh, see, that just went right to the magnet. Ice cream cones, can make ice cream cones, which I think is really cute. And then there's another set of horns here. So lots of elements in different ways and that you can use this stuff and incorporate into your other cards. That's one thing I love about Spellbinders stuff is it allows you to stretch it and use it in other ways. You're not just limited to using him for using this stuff for the Yeti. Okay, so let me just pick all this stuff up. And we're going to put our Yeti together, and then we're going to ink blend our card panel and do all that fun stuff. I'm just going to put all these guys back in the bag so I don't lose them. And Spellbinders was kind enough to send me this guy, and I'm super appreciative and excited to be able to share it with you. Okay, so let's put this stuff. I'm going to put these here because I don't want my watercolor paper to get messed up. And I'm going to grab my liquid glue. This is just PVA glue, bookbinding glue. And I'll get my guys here. Okay. Brush him away. And since I've been away, it's been a while, but, I miss creating, I miss crafting. I miss sharing content with you all. And so it made me rethink some things that I want to do with the channel. Because I want to get a little loose glue here. So I'm just going to take a cloth, and as I push down, I can pick up some of that. Of course, I'm leaving some fuzz behind, but that's okay. Actually, I want him to look dirty, like the Abominable Snowman and Rudolph. Not quite that dirty, so we'll get the sand eraser out once I'm all done. But I want to do things differently with the channel. As you can see that I've got a cute little backdrop. I've got my face in the corner to give a little bit, more visual aspect. But I'm also going to do my videos more like a recorded live is the best way to explain it. It will save me some time with editing. Some of the pieces will be edited out of the video that are a little bit time consuming, like adhering adhesive, tape and things like that. But I don't want to speed up my videos anymore. I want people to be able to come and learn and fast forward themselves, because there is a speed up option in YouTube that if there's something that you're familiar with or you don't want to see, that you can forward it yourself. But there's a lot of new crafters coming on the scene, and I want you to be able to learn. And speeding videos up, I talked about this last year before last, in a comment and in a video that I did, that, it's hard to learn when a video is going a mile a minute, And so I just want to change some of the ways that I do my videos. And I like to put some glue down and lay my guy down on his arm, because then I feel like I'm getting his placement better. Same with this arm. So, less voiceovers. I'm, recording live here, so you're seeing this in real time. I think that it creates a better learning environment for some. And if you feel that you need to fast forward the video, then you can certainly speed up the video. It might make my voice sound like Mickey Mouse, but hey, that's what it is. Okay, so now I got his little hands, and I'm going to do the same thing here, but I always get confused on which way his hand is supposed to go. I think we're going to go this way. Okay, same thing. I'm going to put his little hand here. And I'm going to use some Lost Shadow on him to dirty him up a little bit. So it's a nice light gray, but you can build those colors. You know, build that gray, build that darkness with it, which is nice. He looks like he's got snot that wiped off his nose, doesn't he? That glue. Okay. I'll get his little hand here. All right. And I'm going to do the same with his antlers. Now, I'm going to show this to you real quick. I actually did this card already, but the video was choppy and it was just, I don't know, you know, I've got some remote control app that I can see overhead and see, you know, my cameras and everything. And it was so choppy that it was unbearable to edit, let alone watch it for you guys. So I'm doing this again. And I just thought he was the cutest little thing. But so when I showed my husband and son this, Liam, that's my son, he's a big fan of Where the Wild Things Are. And he said, that looks like the little boy from the Wild Things with his costume on. And I thought it did too. So I know there's probably going to be some projects with different ideas on being able to make him look a certain way, which is pretty cool. It's nice that he's not just a one-man Yeti. He's got some different personalities that can come through. Okay, get this glue out of here. All right. Get his little feet down. Get that glue out of there. And before I put his, never mistakes, friends, only happy accidents. I shouldn't have glued his head back so far here. So I need to be able to tuck his horns back in. Okay. Let me get my eraser because I'm going to need that. My little sand eraser. And I'm going to put his eyes in next. So I want to put a little dab. Okay, now I'm using the brushed, I mentioned that in the beginning there, the brushed metallic, his eyes have to turn, cardstock from Spellbinders. I thought that this would be a little softer than straight black because it's got a bit of shimmer in it. So I thought that would be good. Okay. Put him in the right direction here. Okay. Now, let's scuff off his face here before we get any further. Clean them up some, that way when I put the ink down it won't catch the wrong way. Okay, now what I'm gonna do first is I do want to dirty up his antlers, so I'm just gonna take a little blending brush and go over, and I'm gonna trim these down, so I'm gonna take some of these off. And that way, also, I do have a website. I've had a website since I started my channel. I just don't promote it that much. But I've got a blog and all that good stuff. So you'll find details in the description box below of products I'm using, but also over on my website, which I'll link up in the description box below, so that you'll be able to check that out. I have a newsletter. I encourage you to sign up if you haven't signed up for it yet, because I will notify when I put out. Just looking at my original card because I really like how I got those antlers. I'm not spammy or anything like that when it comes to newsletters and things, but it is the best and fastest way to know when I've uploaded a video or something like that, or a project that I'm working on. When the Card Maker Success Summit comes out and that type of stuff, to be able to get your VIP pass. So I encourage you to sign up for that. That way you'll be notified right away. And don't worry, I'm going to smooth this out. I'm going to show you a little trick with your bone folder. I'll get him a little darker here on this. Okay. So I definitely encourage you, but I'll have everything linked up in the description box below. Okay. I liked how his little antlers came together. His little horns. Okay. I'll grab this folder. Now I'm going to take the flat piece. And we can burnish them down. Not quite glued down, but that's okay. Burnish them down. Take the tip. That'll kind of smooth this out, where I had to raise it up from the glue being glued down. There we go. All right, now I'm going to dirty them up now. So I'm just going to take a larger blending brush, because when I did this the first time, it was real splotchy, and I thought it'd probably be better if I just use a bigger brush and cover more area. And that way it'll look a little bit more even and not and I'm just tapping because I don't want a ton of ink on here. I just want enough. Okay. Not too bad. Get his little feet. Get the tips of his hands. And of course, you got all these other elements that came with him. So certainly you could dress him up more if you wanted to. I'm not going to do that. I want to keep him as simple and basic as I can. Got a little schmutz there and a little eye boogers. Okay. His eyes aren't quite even, but that's okay. Okay. All right. Check him out in the light here. I think he's okay. And for this cardstock here that I'm using, that I cut him out of, accent opaque, 100-pound, nothing fancy. So I'm going to set him over to the side because we're done with him for now. And we're going to start working on, wipe up my gray ink here. We're going to start working on our ink blending panel. And let's see, I always like to start with my lightest color. And I just got to few blending brushes. They've all got some sort of blue on them. I don't generally clean, so it might be a little green, a little, in fact, that's what that looks like. Some green and blue. So let's try a different brush. It's got more blue on it. It's okay. I don't worry too much about that. And having those extra colors from whatever I used, blues and greens go, you know what I mean? So I don't worry about that. And once I get these other colors on, everything will blend together nicely. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I appreciate everybody. I know I've got quite a few new subscribers from the Card Maker Success Summit, and I want to thank you for your patience. It's not been an easy year and a half figuring out scheduling, routines, and things like that. And so we just take it one day at a time, and we figure things out as we go along sometimes, and fit stuff in as we can, you know, and that's all we can do, really. So I appreciate you sticking around, and all my old subscribers as well, because it's not easy. My mother-in-law's got vascular dementia and Alzheimer's, so it's trying sometimes, you know, to make time for yourself. And as a caregiver, it's totally needed. I unfortunately am one of those people that give, and don't take time for myself. So this, and being able to design for Spellbinders, design for Imagine Crafts, helps me. It kind of forces me, because I've got a deadline. I hope that makes sense. Because I really do need this. This is my decompression. This is my escape. And I desperately need it. And it's hard for Matt and I, because Matt and I don't get a ton of time together either. So we just do the best that we can. But that's why I've been away, and I haven't been able to really do a ton of social creating, if you will. I have created. I've been selling my cards and custom designing cards for a local business. So a couple local businesses. One is a business that my stepdaughter owns in Shepherdstown, West Virginia, and then another one was here local in North Carolina. And so I have been creating. This being able to come up and do all of this is not, it's not easy to set that time aside. And when I do have the time, usually I'm too tired, honestly. So I've been trying to do things differently, and having deadlines and things like that when things have to be done really, really helps. And I know anybody who's been a caregiver or currently is a caregiver can appreciate what I'm saying. All right. Now this color combo I actually did several years ago for Imagine Crafts. It's here on my channel. I'll link it up. Same background, except I'm going to add in the 3D embossing, because I don't know, I've just got a thing about snowflakes. I really like them, and I think they make great backgrounds for scene setting and things like that. So I'm just gonna add a little ink down here. And I have to say, I will add this to my watercolor paper list and recommendations. Excuse me, a little gassy. And recommendations for hot press watercolor paper. So we've got Strathmore 500 series that's really affordable, and I definitely recommend. And also Arches hot press watercolor paper is a good one. So I can't recommend those enough to you. And then, of course, now we can add in the Altenew hot press watercolor paper. And Altenew has sales regularly. That's another reason to sign up for my newsletter and to be notified, because I'll send out notifications when there's huge sales going on. You know what? I think because she's a rubber stamp, I'm going to just lay it on the back. Now, Gina K doesn't have the red rubber stamps anymore in this. And I just stamped that in gold so you can see the pattern that's going to come out of it. She has them in the photopolymer now, so that is what will be linked up. And I'm not sure why she changed, but she did. Now we only got one shot, so I'm going to really ink this up. And I know there's a new ink, metallic ink out there, the Lisa Horton ones. I don't have those. You know, I'm hesitant to change on what I know works, and I really love the Delicata inks. But if you've got experience with it, I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. I see them in photos and stuff, but until you use them in real life, you know, sometimes you just, it's risky to bite the bullet, you know, and buy them. Okay, so I'm going to set this guy down on top here. Just take this guy here. That's one of my shims. Check my cameras, make sure everything's recording. I'm just going over this real good because I only got one shot. I need to make sure I get as much ink down as I can. All right. Okay, that's pretty soft. That's okay. Downside to doing it this way, but I didn't want to take out the stamping tool. All right. Okay. Put this back over here, and I'm going to grab our embossing folder. And I've got my... put my die cutting machine behind. I don't need many shims for this because 3D embossing folders are pretty thick nowadays. All right. Now, I want to talk about that for a second. So I used the Sizzix Big Shot, and of course I used the base plate. I used the number 2 tab, which doesn't say anything like that here. And then I used a clear cutting plate to emboss my embossing folder. And this gives a better, you know, you can kind of really see it because you see it raised here, but the detail is what you see on the back. So you don't, you know, play around with your shims if you don't have the universal plate system. I don't have that. Because sometimes you can just put a bunch of cardstock in if you don't have certain things to be able to create your shims. All right, now this guy. Put our tree together real quick here. And he's kind of bright, so I will definitely be adding a little bit of ink to him. To deepen him up. I haven't quite decided which one I'm going to do yet. Probably stick with the Memento inks because I'm using them. You know what? I might pull out my distress ones too because I know they're right on top in my bin. I keep those in the clear plastic container. I got browns and greens on this. Rustic Wilderness, you can't ever go wrong with that. Hold on, little guy down there, he's not glued down. I'll get some forest moss in there. Just want to deepen them up a little bit. Get some of that yellow out of there. And this is a great way to use up if you've been, you know, practicing with your pigment powders and things like that, or alcohol backgrounds and things like that, alcohol inks, and you've got a bunch of backgrounds. Good way to use these backgrounds is in these types of die cuts. Okay, so I got pine needles. Deepen up this green here a bit. This yellow. I am going to add in some scorched timber here in a second. Try and save him for last. Okay, now let's get us a little brown. And having a background that's already done like this gives you the opportunity to add this detailing in. Right. Like that. It's not too bad. Right. Okay. I don't know what I did with my lid. And there it is. And I'm going to leave these out because I'm probably going to have to add to that once I get those top pieces on. Let's just wipe our ink away here. The other thing too about not doing voiceovers, you know, it makes, and not, you know, speeding things up and stuff, it just makes the videos a little bit longer, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. If you're like me, you can, while you're doing the dishes, throw a video on and okay, I just want to get my pieces figured out and where they need to go. There we go. Actually looks kind of pretty on there. I like to look overhead and see with that blue on there, so I might not touch that. All right. I'm trying to be careful with this glue because I tend to get a little nutty with it. All right. Press that down because I didn't put a ton of glue on there. All right. Now, the hardest part's really going to be adding in those ornaments because, as you saw in my first example, the one that I did and recorded that didn't come out well, the recording didn't come out well. They look like they're in a straight line, even though I was zigzagging, right? And so it's, sometimes you really, it's like decorating your real tree. You really gotta add all the bulbs in there because otherwise it doesn't look right. And odd numbers, keep it odd. I don't know if I did odd numbers on that. But that will keep your eye from going and focusing on one particular spot. Okay. These all kind of nest in, so as long as you got them going in the right direction, you'll be able to get everything in there and lined up. And most of the bottom here is going to be covered with our snowbank, so I don't worry too much about that. Okay. Let's decorate. I'll find my little poker. And I have all these different shapes. Circles, triangles. I'm going to call it a finial, even though I know that's not what it is. I'm going to grab my star out for Rocky. And that might help to break up the... And I do like that the die's cut out 3 at a clip, because that kind of saves you. You can get a grouping of colors really quickly. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of start little dots. And I am gonna go in that zigzag motion. And we can fill in as we go up, so. I'm going to put a little bit of pop-up foam, little foam to put on the star. A little glue. That's going to give us some staying power. Peel this guy off, you know. Okay, let's let him dry over here in the basket. Let's get our Right, I think that's cute, isn't it? This is double-sided adhesive from Cherry on Top. I love the affordability of it and how much you get. It's 1/2 inch, which is great for hearing your panels down. Now's a great time to subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up, and again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Be sure and check the description box below for all the details, products used, affiliate links are used. That does help me to keep the channel going and not have to have ads and all kinds of stuff on my website, which can be horribly distracting, I think. But it does help. I literally take the money that I earn in affiliate and in commission and apply it to my channel to buy craft supplies to keep sharing and helping to inspire you. So I do appreciate every time you click one of my links and make a purchase. All right. So this, like I said, is sea glass cardstock from Simon Says Stamp. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, again, please give it a thumbs up. I want to thank you so much for joining me, and I want to thank you again for sticking with me through this last year and a half and trying to get things figured out. And hopefully I'll be able to continue to start doing some weekly videos for you. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next video.